It was a rainy afternoon on a New York City bus when Gretchen Rubin had a sudden epiphany. The days are long, but the years are short, she realised. Time is passing, and I'm not focusing enough on the things that really matter. In that moment, she decided to dedicate a year of her life to reading Votive, Schopenhauer, Tolstoy, back issues of Psychology Today, and umpteen self-help books. She consulted scientists and gurus. She chose a monthly theme such as love, work, or energy to test drive various theories of happiness. She drafted 12 new commandments, kept a food diary, daily journal, charts, and of course a blog. Her tips became a best-selling book entitled The Happiness Project, or Why I Spent a Year Trying to Sing in the Morning, Clean My Closets, Fight Right, Read Aristotle, and Generally Have More Fun. It was the #1 bestseller in America for weeks, has been translated into 11 languages, and has spawned an industry of talk show interviews, calendars, greeting cards, and videos of the Happiness Project. Gretchen's formula for happiness is for each person to develop their own commandments and stick to them. She's big on order, but thinks we need novelty and challenge as well. And money. She lives in a luxury Manhattan apartment and thinks money can buy happiness if spent wisely. If only it was that easy. Our Gospel today talks about two happy guys. But they don't get happy by reading happiness blogs or writing their own commandments. No, they are searching for something of real value. And once they find it, they give it their all. St. Rose, whose house and church we are in, was like that. She knew you don't get happy by buying happy or trying happy. There is no happiness project. In fact, focusing on happiness is the surest way to lose it. You focus on what is good and true and beautiful. And true fulfillment, happiness, is what results. Born in 1586 and baptised Isabel de Flores, our saint today lived only 31 years. Yet her influence extended from Lima to all the world. So many miracles followed her death that she was the first American to be canonised. Now she's the patron saint of the Americas, North and South, of Peru and Lima in particular, of indigenous peoples, of the Philippines, of India, of gardeners, florists and needleworkers, of people ridiculed for their piety, of people struggling with vanity, and of people with trouble in their family. That's a lot of people that look to her for inspiration and intercession. How did that happen? And did it make her happy? As a young person, Isabel was nicknamed Rose because she was as beautiful as one. The name stuck, and the Archbishop, St. Turribius, gave it to her at confirmation, in part to honour the Rosary. Inspired by a book about the great Dominican mystic St. Catherine of Siena, she embraced personal penance, prayer before the Blessed Sacrament, works of charity, and holy virginity as a pearl of great price she might give to God. She knew such a life would not be easy, but it was her path to holiness, and so to happiness. It earned the ridicule of her family and friends, who thought that what she needed was sex and marriage, and quick. But she was resolute and joined some consecrated Dominican laywomen. During our time here, we've heard already, and we'll hear more, about her extraordinary penances. Out in the courtyard I see little signs to tell you where she hung herself up by her hair, or where she had a chain tied around her neck and threw away the key in the well, and so on. I talked a bit about some of those when we had our last catechesis in Blacktown. They were strange stuff, but they were never the main game for her. The main game was serving God and others, and she did whatever seemed to help. Like that man in the Gospel today, who sells everything he owns to get his piece of the action in the kingdom of heaven. Like the great pearl merchant, who throws all his resources into getting the pearl of great price. So Rose offered the good things and the hard things to God, praying for the relief of the poor, for the conversion of sinners and pagans, and for the souls in purgatory. She was a rather exotic flower by today's standards, but she invites reflection on the mystery of suffering and happiness. In the consumer society from which we come, we don't put up with uncomfortable things. We expect healthcare, technology, government, and especially money to fix everything. If some things can't be fixed, we marginalise those who suffer, and even now talk of euthanasia. Rose and her people, who are our hosts, say to us, hold on. Some things in life are important enough to put up with the struggle. You commit for the long haul. You sacrifice. It won't always be easy, but it's worth it. Not that Rose's life was without joy. The Lord revealed himself to her frequently, flooding her soul with inexpressible peace and ecstatic joy for hours on end. She was happy, but her happiness came not through pursuing happiness head on, but through doing what's right. If only people knew how wonderful it is to possess divine grace, Rose once said. How beautiful, how noble, how precious. How many riches it hides within itself. How many joys and delights. There are treasures worth giving everything for. Gretchen Rubin wasn't depressed when she started her search for happiness. She was beautiful, smart, professional, affluent, but suffering a mild malaise, a below-the-surface restive irritableness, she said. So she went searching. Pilgrims do that. The word comes from a Latin peregrinum, which means a wanderer, seeker, adventurer. We've wandered far from home, about 13,000 kilometres as the crow flies. Pilgrims go places, and that sometimes changes them. Instead of a sea change or a tree change, pilgrimage aims at a P change. Lima, Iguazu, and Rio may affect you deeply in your spirituality, identity, and sense of mission. God may inspire you anew. Pilgrimage is about that sort of P for pilgrim change. Seeing through that new identity and mission is what will bring ultimate happiness to you. We start that new identity and mission today. We have a mission to fulfil here in Lima. We must share our faith and our ideals through the work we do here in the next 3 days. The Catechism of the Catholic Church quotes St. Rose of Lima, saying, "When we serve the poor and the sick, we serve Jesus. We must not fail to help our neighbours, because in them we serve Jesus." As we serve our neighbours, and so Jesus, during this mission experience here in Lima, we'll meet not only saints from long ago, such as St. Rose and St. Martin, but living saints among our fellow pilgrims and the people we are visiting. They will all challenge us with a question from the Gospel. What is your life all about? What makes you happy? Is Christ your treasure? The Swedish hymn, Den kostliga pärlan, begins. Oh, that pearl of great price, have you found it? Is the Saviour supreme in your love? Oh, consider it well ere you answer, as you hope for a welcome above. Have you given up all for this treasure? Have you counted past gains as but lost? Has your trust in yourself and your merits come to naught before Christ and his cross?